Okay, so welcome to converting customary and metric conversion. This is using the proportion method. This is just going to be a quick video showing you how to set up customary and metric conversions using proportions. Let's go over a few things. A few things to know. When you're going from a larger unit to a smaller unit, you multiply. Small to large, you divide, and a conversion chart will be nicely appreciated. One of the first things you can do on your conversion chart is mark it up. And what I mean is what I just stated earlier. When you go from a large to small unit, you're going to multiply. And vice versa. When I'm going from a smaller unit to a larger unit, I would divide. And I would just simply do that for each unit. Capacity and weight. Now, this will help you determine and set up your proportion that we're about to talk about. Let's move on. Okay, so let's try a few of these practice problems together. Let's look at our first question. First, we have to determine what 2 units are we talking about. We're talking about kilograms to grams. So let's look at that section on our conversion chart. So in this case, we know that 1 kilogram is equal to 1,000 grams. This part is going to be super important to setting up our proportion. So in this case, this would be my original ratio. Let's write that down. Okay, so we have my first part of my proportion set up. Now we know we're trying to get to 0 and 7/300 kilograms. Since I'm talking about kilograms at the top, that's where I will put my information. And we'll put an X where we're solving for grams. I know I can go 1 times 0 and 7/300 to get that. So whatever I do to the top, I also have to do to the bottom. So if I go 1,000 times 7/300, I would get 730. So in this case, we know 730 grams. Let's look at the next one. Again, this time we're talking about liters to milliliters. Again, I have got this from my conversion chart, and let's see if we can see what the comparison is from liters to milliliters. We know that liters to milliliters, 1 liter is equal to 1,000 milliliters. And we're trying to figure out how many is in 8 liters. I can easily see the relationship where I go 1 times 8. And whatever we do to the top, we can also do to the bottom. So 1,000 times 8 gives me 8,000. So we know that 8 liters is equal to 8,000 milliliters. Let's continue. Okay, let's try our last metric conversion, and then we'll move to customary. So in this case, again, we're just going to figure out our 2 units, centimeters and millimeters. We need to, again, go to our reference chart and determine what's the relationship between the 2. We know that 1 centimeter is 10 millimeters. Let's write that down. Centimeters to millimeters. We know that 1 centimeter is equal to 10 millimeters. And we're trying to figure out how much would be in 46 centimeters. So since we're talking about centimeters at the top, that number would go at the top. And X means it's an unknown number that I'm trying to solve. Again, there's 2 relationships that I see. It does not matter which one you use. We can go 1 times 10 gives me 10. And whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. Or we can do 1 times 46. And again, whatever I do to the top, I do to the bottom. So if I go 10 times 46, it would give me 460. So in this case, we know that 460 milliliters is equal to 46 centimeters. Let's go ahead, let's jump straight into customary. Okay, let's take a moment and look at some customary ones. So again, we have to go in and compare our units. So we're going from ounces to pounds, ounces to pounds. So again, we go to my conversion chart, and we go to my conversion chart, and we know that 1 pound is equal to 16 ounces. Let's write that down. And we have 128 ounces. We're talking about ounces at the bottom, so we'll write 128. Now again, I see several relationships that we can use. I know that 1 times 16 would give me 16. So I need to figure out what times X will give me 128. So in this case, instead of multiplying, I could divide. So I would go 128 divided by 16. I know that it goes in there 8 times. So 8 times 16, that's 128, and I have 0 remainders. So in this case, we know that 128 ounces is equal to 8 pounds. Let's try the next one. Let's compare my next one. Again, we're going from quarts to cups. Looking at my formula chart, it doesn't have a direct relationship from quarts to cups. So what do you think we're going to do? So remember, we said when we go from large to small, we multiply. So I would need to multiply until I get to my cups. I would just simply go 2 times 2. That gives me 4. So we know that in 1 quart, there are 4 cups. Let's set that up. And then based on my problem, I know I have 5.5 quarts. I'm talking about quarts at the top. And again, I'm trying to solve for X. I know that 1 times 4 gives me 4. So I could come over here, whatever I do to one side, I would have to do to the other side. So I can go 5.5 times 4. Let's do the math. That's 20, 20, 22, and then bring my decimal over. So in this case, we know that 5.5 quarts is equal to 22 cups. Let's look at our last practice problem together. Again, go to our conversion chart. We know that 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. This, again, is my original information to set up my proportion. We're talking about feet to inches. We know that 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. From there, we know that 9 feet would go at the top, since that's where I'm talking about feet. I see, again, several relationships that I can use. So let's just use 1 times 9. Whatever I do at the top, I have to do to the bottom. So in this case, 12 times 9 would give me 108. So that means 9 feet is equal to 108 inches. On the next slide, there are a few practice problems that you could try independently. Let me know if you have any questions or anything that I can. Here you go. Try these independently.